first story was posted 2 years ago by a Reddit user named NoHistory7124. About 8-ish years ago, I lived in a town in the mountains that had a lot of vacant and abandoned houses. I had gone into 2 of them. The first one I went into honestly scared me. It was off a stone road with a few other houses scattered down the road. My boyfriend at the time and I drove there even though it was less than a mile from where we lived. It had snowed a lot and there was possibly a good 8 inches of snow on that lot. The house was set back from the road and had a long driveway. The first weird thing was there were appliances, stoves, washers, dryers, refrigerators, just lining the driveway on either side. The house itself was a big house with a split level. Front door, when you go in, you can go up a few steps to the main area or down a few steps at the bottom level. There were no steps to get into the front door, so we went to the side. The door was already kicked in and snow was blowing to the inside. The house was completely gutted. We went in and there were those really tall Jesus candles you can get from like the dollar store lining the hallway on both sides. Had to be close to 100 in total, and went up the stairs to the front door, continued up to the other steps and stopped in front of a door a little to the right of the kitchen, which was at the top of the steps. There was heavy plastic, like layers that were thick, acting as a door so we couldn't see in the room. We decided to go check it out, and so we pushed back the plastic aside to go in. The room was small, and there was a small folding table set up in the middle of the room with 1 chair, 1 plate on the table, 1 fork, 1 spoon, and 1 cup knocked over. The room's air felt very heavy, as if whoever were there or there last was very depressed and sad, and maybe even took their life there, but no signs of that. There was no other furniture in the room. There was a closet door that was ajar, but we heard a noise come from behind it. Thinking it was an animal or something, we opened the door and there was a black top hat on a hook and nothing else. I started to get really bad, and the heaviness of the air was getting on me. We walked out of the room through the heavy plastic, and I stopped at the top of the steps as my ex wanted to go down the hall, but I was getting too creeped out, so I told him to hurry up. He was maybe 10 steps down the hall when the plastic from the doorway flew open, and I felt this big, forceful rush of air go past me and down the steps. It almost knocked me over. My ex heard the plastic move and ran toward me, pretty much picked me up. I'm not a skinny person. And we ran down the steps and out the door back to my car. It was terrifying. That plastic could not have moved on its own. The other house I was in was not scary at all. The small house had been vacant for a long time and the roof was collapsing in. We went in through the front door and it was like whoever once lived there just left one day and never came back. I'm assuming it was an elderly person who died and no one came to empty the house. Everything was still there. Medicine in the bathroom that expired in 1994. Dishes were on a drying rack next to the sink. Wallet with ID, dentures, just everything. It was sad. We checked out the home and found tons of cool stuff, especially an old World War I or World War II uniform, an old sewing machine, record player with tons of records, and this old parchment paper book of records dating back to the 1980s with railroad information and costs of materials and letters between family and friends and business transactions. It was super cool to see that. We didn't take anything, but it was neat to feel like we stepped back in time. I moved out of that area and a couple years ago went to drive by that house, but it's not there anymore. Second story was posted 4 years ago by a Reddit user named Apprehensive Sky 6467. My ex-husband and I used to love going into old abandoned houses years ago. There was a beautiful old 2-story brick home about a mile from where we lived. The grass and trees were so grown and tall, it was hard even getting into the house. My ex managed to get a window open and we climbed through it. It was like a time capsule. Very nice and expensive furniture and stuff everywhere. Furniture was covered with really dusty sheets. Everything looked high quality and expensive. Even the wallpaper was rich. It was creepy how it seemed like they walked away from all of it in the 1950s or 60s. The kitchen was upstairs, which was odd, but we ventured up there and there was a huge arch opening into a gentleman's type man cave. Again, lots of expensive furniture and stuff. I stood in the archway while my ex rummaged through stuff. Off to the side of the arch was a huge mirror leaning against the wall. I used it to check my hair for spider webs. Took maybe 3 steps away from the mirror to tell my ex I wanted to go. It literally felt like someone was standing beside me. Took 3 steps back to the mirror, and in bright pink lipstick were the words "Get out." I swear on my life and the lives of my children, it was right there, and it hadn't been 2 minutes before. The mirror was only a few feet behind me the entire time, and I definitely would have seen "Get out" in bright pink lipstick a minute before. I even remember the exact shade of lipstick too. It was the kind old ladies like to wear. Well, I screamed and jumped back into a kitchen table and fell. My ex comes running over and I'm so scared. I just point to the mirror, babbling like an idiot. My ex calmly got me out of there and we never went back. He thinks I didn't notice it before, but I was all up on that mirror, so I would have absolutely noticed bright pink lipstick in the middle of it. Get cold hills every time I think about it. Third story was posted 8 years ago by a Reddit user named Eternal Rest 27. There used to be an old abandoned house in a town by my house. It was heavily boarded up and super hard to get into. Well, a friend and I managed to get inside by climbing up the side of the house via a pipe slipping through a window on the roof. We explored the basement, which was flooded. It was kinda creepy seeing stairs disappear into water. We had just left the house when we heard footsteps coming from the doors onto the other side of the room. Scary as hell, especially considering it sounded like it was one person, not another group of explorers like us, and blocking our exit back up to the roof. The only way out otherwise was behind us through boarded up doors. They sounded like someone who was walking around and stopping periodically. There was no light coming from that direction, and we couldn't fathom why someone would come into a creepy place like this alone. We waited for the footsteps to stop, then snuck across the room, peered down the hallways, saw no one, and continued towards the stairs which would lead us back to the roof. Halfway down the hall, we hear someone sprinting behind us, probably 50 meters away or so, down a typical high school hallway. Now, it's mostly dark here, but there was a small amount of light coming in through cracks in the window boards. Still, we didn't see anything behind us as we quickly ran up the stairs. We didn't stop until we got back to the 4th floor. We listened for noise. Nothing. Hopped out of the window and climbed back down the pipe. Legitimately the scariest experience of my life. I have no idea what the hell went on in there.